Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here, your source for gaming, tech, emulation, and open source news. Let's get started. Alright, we'll kick things off talking about Nintendo Switch emulation on PC with Yuzu, and the paid testing early access version of Yuzu just got a brand new update. So as of Yuzu Early Access 4052, they've implemented GPU System Memory Management Unit emulation and device mapping. It reduces memory usage by 300 megabytes and reduces GPU usage. They say note that the amount reduced may vary between games and user systems. At a high level, here are the main advantages of the SMMU. If you remember just from a minute ago, SMMU stands for Subscribe to Mr. Sujano, or System Memory Management Unit, depending on how you want to interpret that. They say it's not perfect, but it's more accurate than before. Uses less memory overall for tracking GPU memory. More optimizations possible in the future. It appears the SMMU will help out the GPU with multiple processes, for example, the application and maybe some overlays and applets. They say with this implementation of SMMU, it is now possible to share the GPU resources without any issues whatsoever. Now, for those of you on Android, if I'm not mistaken, SMMU was implemented as part of Android 186. I'll drop a link to this GitHub page in the description below. Now, although SMMU is more foundational for setting Yuzu up for future performance improvements, some people are already experiencing some performance improvements on Android. For example, someone has Tears of the Kingdom up and running at a stable 30 frames per second on a Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. And on top of that, I don't know if you noticed this top comment or not, but with SMMU build, one of the team members managed to run some games on a device with 6 gigs of RAM. I wouldn't necessarily say that's going to be the standard, it may be the exception. Yuzu continues to impress. The development team is hard at work, and what they're accomplishing here is absolutely amazing. Let me know your thoughts about Yuzu in the comments below. Next up, we're talking about a brand new fan game on PC. It's called RoboCop vs. Predator. It's in the style of a Game Boy game, and it's 100% free. In my opinion, this is a full-blown game. There's a whole lot of options here, a whole lot of levels, and a lot of depth to it, as well as a full story. RoboCop vs. Predator is simple and straightforward, and if you wanted to learn more about it, I'll drop a link to the itch.io in the description below. There might be some interesting links for you there. Next up, we're talking about CreamAPI, and this is more of just a friendly heads up. So I've received a few pings on this tweet here that says CreamAPI is a popular tool used by gamers to unlock additional content, DLCs, and features in their favorite Steam games. It provides a way to bypass the DRM protection implemented by Steam, allowing users to access content they may not have purchased. Now, CreamAPI is on GitHub, and it says Cream Installer, Automatic DLC Unlocker Installer, and Configuration Generator. CreamAPI has been around for a while, and if someone uses CreamAPI on an online game, chances are they're going to be banned. And there's also a chance they're actually banned from Steam altogether, considering it's technically violating the terms of service. So with that being said, I don't recommend using it, but people are free to do what they want. If something seems a little bit too good to be true, chances are it might actually be. Next up, we're talking about the Spider-Man 2 port for PC, the unofficial Spider-Man 2 port. And in a previous video, I said I didn't foresee this being completed anytime soon because they didn't have textures. Well, it appears they've now got textures. Honestly, it's kind of crazy to see that this game is already running great on the PC. I mean, if a studio was to try to port a game from PS5 to PC, I think it'd take a lot longer. Next up here, this one is a little bit crazy. Someone decided to make a Nintendo PlayStation. I'll drop a link to this YouTube video in the description below. And for reference, yes, a Super Nintendo was kind of harmed to make this thing. The project itself is wild. It's not something you see every day, but it is pretty neat. Next up, we're quickly talking about Linux, and Linux Kernel 6.7 has just released. They are saying that 6.7 is one of the largest kernel releases they have ever had in terms of commits. They've got over 17,000 non-merge commits with 1,000 plus merges. If you are using Linux and you're wondering whether or not you need to upgrade to the new kernel, I would say it's entirely up to you. Newer kernels usually have more updated drivers for much newer systems. For example, if you picked up a PC in the last couple of months, the newer kernel might benefit you. Next up, we're quickly talking about the soon-to-be-released Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra, not the S24 and not the S24 Plus. Apparently, the S24 Ultra will only be shipped with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, but there are two versions of it. One that's clocked at 3.3 GHz and one that's clocked at 3.4 GHz. Interestingly enough, the US version will be receiving the 3.3 GHz model. In my opinion, the extra 100 MHz may not be noticeable to the regular user. However, if you are emulating, you may notice the 100 MHz difference. You may not though, because the extra 100 MHz may thermal throttle sooner. And on top of that, as far as I know, both the S24 and S24 Plus are getting the 3.3 GHz version. Moving on, and this one is pretty awesome if you're a MegaMan fan. There's a MegaMan X8 Demake project in the works. This game was originally released back on the PlayStation 2, and it's been demade for the SNES. It's a 16-bit rendition. If you want to learn more about this project, I'll drop the YouTube video with the walkthrough in the description below, as well as this site here. Interestingly enough, this demake was made using the Godot engine. And last up here, we're keeping the fun stuff rolling, and we're talking about Steam, and Steam has just celebrated a massive milestone. They've just achieved their peak concurrent users. Now, I am not joking here. On January 7th at 2 p.m. UTC, Steam had 33,675,229 people logged in at the exact same time. The most that has ever happened to Steam. As you can probably guess, this is amazing for PC gaming. I mean, Steam has come a long way since back in 2010, and I'm hoping it continues to grow and continues to flourish. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff. We talked about a few things today. Let me know your thoughts about absolutely any of them in the comments below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button, check out my other videos, don't tempt fate, save your state.